decades. I feel like a player again. And we brought the best in. The Norda Vista High School cheerleaders in the house all show long, too, right?
They're going to be here the whole time. They're going to be cheering us on. I'm telling you, I could go out and play a hoop game right now.
This is unbelievable. It's a banner show. It's our first one like this, right?
Yes,
so
it is.
We're ushering in cheerleaders onto the show for each and every show, going with Novi first.
Of course, the best. Why not?
Best, right?
Yep.
Well, we got a huge show. We're into the playoffs now. The high school football playoffs are starting this week. We're going to break down the CIF Southern Section brackets like nobody else. We've got a list. Look at this jam-packed show of all the local teams, some great local matchups. Geoff, as we start the Inland Sports TV show here at Teen Vision TV 16, what are your first impressions when you first saw the brackets on Sunday when they were released for the very first time? What did you think? Anything jump out at you?
A few things jumped out at me. First of all, we've talked about the River Valley League.
Yeah.
4 teams got in. That was a big surprise. I thought, we were talking maybe just 2 would get in, but 4 ended up in. But then the #1 seeds, there are so many local teams that are #1 seeds.
2 things jumped out at me, my first impressions. One was there is a lot of rematches. Teams that play during the regular season, they're going to see each other again in the playoffs. That was my first impression. The second one was I felt like there were several teams that have an easier path to the CIF championship as opposed to a school who maybe won a league title. You think the CIF might reward them for winning a league title, and you look at who they have in the first round, and hypothetically speaking, they win that, they move on to the quarterfinals, and you see who's looming in their bracket. I'm like, wow, there's some teams out there that have a tough road to get to the finals.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with that competitive equity over the last couple of years. We're seeing the wrinkles are trying to get ironed out, but like you said, some of these really good teams have a tough way to get to the championship. I think things will change next year due to this year's pairings.
And there were some teams snubbed, and the one that jumps to mind, and I know they were kind of vocal on Twitter a little bit, was Rim of the World.
Yeah.
Rim of the World was ranked in Division 13 for a good part of the season, but they finished in 4th place in their own league. And so I think they were 7-3. And they didn't get into the playoffs. So it's not perfect, but I think more times than not, the brackets, the playoffs kind of work themselves out. The teams that should belong in the playoffs are in the playoffs, but once in a while, a team like Rim of the World, I get it. Like, I understand why they might be a little upset.
Yeah, and there's a few teams, if you look down at the brackets, there's teams that haven't won a game in league that are in the playoffs.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so we have teams that went 0 in league. And then remember, a couple years ago, Ramona High School was ranked #1 for 6 weeks. And they were shut out of the playoffs.
All right, speaking of a team that has not won a league game but in the playoffs, Anthony, let's go to our #1 seeds because Cajon is #1 in Division 3, Geoff, and they are playing Paloma Valley. And Paloma Valley, who's a very good football team, but they went winless in the Ivy League.
They did go winless, and here's the thing. These 2 teams, they played each other early in the season. They're going to bookend their season. Somebody's going to win, and somebody's going to lose. They won 48-7 over Paloma Valley earlier this year. So it's a silly scenario, to say the least.
So that's Cajon D3. We're looking at video of the Rancho Verde in Division 2. That was a huge win at Heritage. That locked up the #1 seed for Rancho Verde in Division 2. I thought if Rancho Verde lost that game, maybe Norco would be the #1 seed in Division 2, but Rancho Verde went on the road to Heritage. They won that huge game 17-10, and now Rancho Verde kind of put their stamp on not only a perfect season, but now as the #1 seed going into the playoffs.
Well, I'll tell you what, they are an offensive juggernaut. They've got guys, they've got a good freshman in Duffy and a great running game in Ugorgi. They're pretty unstoppable. They're playing this Tesoro team. They're averaging 337 yards. Pretty good, but not nearly as good as Rancho Verde.
So Rancho Verde, the #1 team in Division 2, they will open up against Tesoro. Division 3, these guys right here, the Cajon Cowboys. If there's a team that has, I don't want to say the easiest path because it's not easy, it's just they're really good. I think Cajon might be the biggest slam dunk maybe to win a CIF championship. No offense to our other local teams in Roosevelt, Santiago, and who else we got in D3? Citrus Hills in D3.
They're
going to be in the mix. They're in the #2 seed in Division 3, but this Cajon team is loaded, and they're playing at a high level right now.
Well, you have possibly the best quarterback in the country in Jaden Daniels, who knows where he's going to go. And then you have a 6'8" wide receiver who right now could probably play on some NFL teams, Darren Jones. They are a phenomenal offensive team. We saw them last year go all the way to the state championship, gave it away at the end, didn't play up to their potential. They're looking to revenge this season.
All right, Anthony, let's go to those Cajon football highlights as we talk about the Cowboys here. They win the Citrus Belt League title back-to-back seasons. They won a CIF Southern Section Division IV championship last year. They bumped them up to Division III this year. But, Jeff, this is not your typical Division III team. If you could put Cajon easily in Division II, maybe even Division I, and that's kind of where they're at right now. I just feel like, and it's been this way for the better part of the season, that Cajon's just kind of on a different level. Like, they're playing that well with that much talent.
Yeah, and they seem to be very healthy at this time of the year. The coach over there has done a great job of just getting these guys prepared, and they do have revenge on their mind. Remember, like I just said, they went to the state championship and lost a game. They're looking to win the CIF championship and then to come back and win the state.
Yeah, last year, you win the D4 title. They beat the Rancho Verde in the state regional. They went to the state championship game against Serra of San Mateo. They lost that one, but that was a learning experience. So not only do they want to win a CIF championship again this year, it was their first one in 30 years last season. Not only do they want to go back-to-back with a CIF title, but again, as with Jaden Daniels being a senior, they want to go out on top. And going out on top, at least at Cajon High School, means winning a state championship. So it was a learning experience last year getting to the state finals. And we've seen this a lot, Jeff. A team gets to the state finals, and the following year they're back in the state championship game, and they win the whole thing.
In fact, the team that they lost to last year had lost the previous year and won the state championship. So a little revenge. Coach Nick Rogers really has those guys going on all cylinders.
It's a trend.
Yes.
If you go through those, I guess you call it the learning curve, the growing pains of just getting to that elite level of a state championship game, and then the next year you're better for it, and you win the whole thing. So Cajon Division III, the Rancho Verde in Division II. We have also two other #1 seeds from right out of the Inland Empire in our inland sports coverage area. Also a #1 seed in Division V, and this is such an incredible story. I love the story of the Aquinas Falcons. We got some Aquinas video as well. Let's show you about the Falcons because, Jeff, last year they were Division IX. They were 14-0. They rolled to the Division 14 championship. Division IX championship. But now they make the jump to Division V, and they haven't lost a beat.
No, I'll tell you what. You lose the best running back in San Bernardino history.
St. Brandon Rankins.
St. Brandon Rankins. Remember, his shoes are in the Vatican in the reliquary. But I'll tell you what. They came back this year. I saw them play against a very good Notre Dame team, the Holy War. They took care of them. They also took care of Kaiser. Kaiser, their only loss, and they were offensive-minded and a scoring machine. They beat them, what, 9-0?
9-0.
9-0, and I'll tell you, Aquinas can play at any scenario. They can play spread, they can run wildcat, they can run smash mouth football.
So Aquinas had a great defense for much of this season. Now they're scoring points as well. We do have Aquinas highlights. Go ahead and roll that, Anthony, whenever you got that. The Falcons have put it together. This is what's scary. The defense was so great early on. Now they're scoring a ton of points. Aquinas in Division V, and they're the #1 seed. I feel like they might make a run to the championship again, back-to-back CIF titles for them.
And that just tells you the depth of this program. They replaced the best back in history with another guy, and another guy. And it's every single position. They are ready. Defensively, they were great when I saw them play against Notre Dame in the Holy War, like I said. But I do think they have a chance to repeat this year as well.
Last year we had, what was it? Was it 4 CIF champions from the Inland Empire? We had Big Bear, we had the Rancho Verde, and we had 2 teams from the city of San Bernardino, Cajon and Aquinas. Now, Jeff, it's hard to duplicate what you do year after year. So we saw Cajon and Aquinas win CIF. They both lost a lot of guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they lost really good players. St. Brandon Rankins, right, the all-time leading rusher. For Cajon, we can start with Jeremiah Martin, who went to Texas A&M. Yes. And they're back on top. They're #1 seeds going into the playoffs in their respective divisions.
Just talking about Aquinas, they had a running back, their senior running back, played behind Brandon Rankins for 3 years, so you got to learn something from playing behind a guy who's the best of all time. Defensively, they can change their schemes. They played a lot of man, a lot of zone, but they've stopped everybody in their path, and I don't see any problem with them repeating as well.
All right, so Aquinas #1 in Division 5, huge jump from Division 9, but they have not been phased at all. Now let's go to Division 12. We're talking about the #1 seed, Linfield Christian, who ironically is another Ambassador League school, the Ambassador League with a good showing this year.
The Ambassador League overall has so many wins. I mean, you looked at their records over and over. Every team was over 500. That's an amazing clip, but they're playing, Linfield Christian's playing Mary Star of the Sea. As a basketball coach, we always used to make fun of the name. Hey, who are you playing? Mary Star of the Sea? Yes, but I'll tell you what, Linfield Christian, they've got it going on as well.
And the Lions had a very special moment. We got some video of Alex Ruiz throwing a touchdown pass. Anthony, please roll that video. Jeff, this is a kid who played quarterback for them.
And was great last year.
He was great, and he had a freak injury. They ended up having to amputate one of his legs. He played in this game and threw a touchdown pass as they finished up Ambassador League play. He threw a touchdown. Unbelievable.
He threw a touchdown, and I think more to the fact is that, you know, Drew Brees came out last year. Do you remember this?
I think he came out several times.
He came out several times. I think he was part of the instrumental in getting this prosthetic leg to the young man. But what a great story. We followed it on the Inland Sports Show for the last year.
Yeah.
And to see a guy who's come back just under a year after losing his leg, throwing a touchdown pass, that has got to be very inspirational for this young Linfield Christian.
Yeah,
kid.
Kudos to Linfield Christian and Alex Ruiz. I mean, obviously the kid loves football. You know, you can't just give it up, right?
No,
so awesome to see him back out there and throw a touchdown pass. You couldn't even script, you know, a better scenario for Linfield Christian.
And a perfect pass we saw in the highlights there. Just
still got it.
They still has it.
Still got it. Finally, let's wrap up this segment with our Inland Sports Grade 8 and 4 more rankings.
Is this the last one?
Nah, we'll probably go through the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's still going to be some movement here. Let's check out the rankings right now. Anthony, go ahead and punch that up. Centennial's still #1. No one's going to argue with you with there. But after Centennial at #1, who's a perfect 10-0, it gets a little dicey, as it has been all season long. I think Rancho Verde, Norco, I think even Cajon. I know they slipped up on Heritage, but there's a lot of teams that can make the case to be #2 or #3. I think 1 through 8, they could be anywhere in that list.
Yeah, and I totally agree with this list. There's a couple things though I'm going to say about the 4 more. We're missing a River Valley League team.
Who?
Hillcrest is playing out of their minds, Pep. Those guys might need to enter that plus 4 more.
Well, in the 4 more, Santiago, Murrieta Valley, Aquinas, and San Jacinto, I would think if Santiago or Murrieta Valley lose in the first round of the playoffs, we may have to find some room for Hillcrest. Assuming Hillcrest beats Rubidoux come Friday night.
That could be a good one, but I'll tell you what.
If Rubidoux wins,
then we have to throw the dough in there.
So there is the Grade 8 and 4 more rankings. Centennial #1, but man, those Grade 8, those top 8 teams are all unbelievable. All should make a long run in the CIF Southern Section playoffs coming up. When we come back, we've got a lot more playoffs to get to. We're going to circle back to Division 2. We got to break down this Redlands East Valley versus Norco matchup. Who is Centennial playing? We got more on the Kaiser Cats and your good friend Billy Cardosi. Pretty special time in the Cardosi house right now.
Big news on the Cardosi front. I think we'll touch on that in the next segment.
We will, and we will talk more about Hillcrest since you brought it up, right? Because you want to put them in the rankings, and they might be there at some point. So we'll be right back here on the Inland Sports TV show. Perfect. Ugh.
I think I screwed up in the beginning.
Why?
Did you mention Rancho or did you mention Collinsford?
Because oil change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. You're going to save thousands of dollars at Catalano Motors. And Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona.
thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. Come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
Mornings, like I'm tired and I haven't had my coffee yet, or dragging, like walking around at all the games, like kind of get you going a little bit.
Like an alarm clock. You just have the cheerleaders next to you and to wake you up. They can cheer you. They can cheer Pep. That'd be cool. Why not?
Like a cup of coffee to kind of get your day going, right? A little pick me up. All right, we still got a lot more high school football to get to. It's round 1 of the CIF Southern Section playoffs. We've been touching on a bunch of the games that we're going to see in the first round. And Jeff, kind of the theme for this round, at least for me in these games we're about to get to, are at least these first couple games, they don't feel like first-round playoff games. They feel like semifinals, maybe even CIF championship games. So we've got some great first-round matchups. In Division 2, we got Redlands East Valley taking on Norco. They played during the regular season. Norco won that one 52-37. But Rev versus Norco, and I just hear those two schools, I'm thinking, well, that's a title game right there.
Yeah, that's a monster matchup. Coach Rich Lunsford, his first year at Rev, taking over for great Coach Bruick. He's really had him, he's changed his offense. Remember, he was a smash-mouth football coach at Arlington for 3 years.
Football. That's
right.
I
mean, he was like smashing pumpkins with a sledgehammer. That's what he used to run. But now he's running a spread. He's got some dudes that can.
He's got a quarterback, Miles Herrera. He's got some receivers.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. Even though this is a rematch of an earlier game this season, a lot can happen in those weeks.
And that's the thing. A lot can change. I was just talking to some people out in the hallway here outside the studio, and they're like, man, it's tough to beat the same team twice in one season, especially when that other team's really good. So I know when the brackets came out, Norco's probably thinking, oh man, we got Rev again. And if you're Rev, you're probably thinking, well, we get another crack at the Cougars. That's a good thing.
Yeah, but if you're Coach Chastain, you're going, oh man, these guys again, they gave him a battle. It was early, but man, Norco, that's how many years have they made the playoffs?
32 straight years.
Good golly, that's a record, and I'll tell you can never count Norco in the Big 8 out. And
here's the thing too, it's one of those matchups where you get two second place teams. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem fair. It's like, okay, Norco's second place in the Big 8. Rev is second place in the Citrus Belt League. That's a great matchup. Like both those teams are thinking, wow, that's not a good draw for them because they got tough first round games. There's teams out there that got easier first round games.
Like you said, this feels like a semifinal going into a finals matchup, and it's just the first round.
Of all the divisions, 1 through 13, I think Division 2 is probably the most brutal. No offense to Division 1 because that's where the big boys hang out. Division 2 is absolutely brutal. It's going to be a gauntlet. It's going to be very, daunting for a team to get through 4 victories, get that championship.
Daunting just to get through 1. Yeah, for God's sakes. That's how crazy it is.
Okay, let's go to Division 1 now. We got some Centennial highlights we're going to play because Centennial goes into the Division 1 playoffs, Jeff, as the number 2 team. Just behind St. John Bosco.
That makes sense. So St. John Bosco, number 1 in the country, by the way, right now.
Bosco's number 1 because they beat Mater Dei head-to-head, right? So Bosco goes in as the 1. Mater Dei's the 3. So they keep Bosco and Mater Dei on the opposite sides of the bracket. So like we thought, like we predicted last week, Centennial would likely play Mater Dei come the semifinals.
And that would be incredible. I'd love to see Centennial get a shot at as a mythical national championship.
So we're hoping to see Centennial string together a couple wins and try to get there they go, the Huskies coming off that Big 8 League championship. Jeff, if they can get a couple wins, that would obviously set up not only Mater Dei in the semifinals, it would also likely be Bosco in the championship game. I don't think there's another team on the planet outside of Centennial that could beat Mater Dei and Bosco in back-to-back weeks. I don't care if it's IMG Academy, Bishop Gorman, I don't care who it is. But if Centennial's going to win the title, they will likely have to go through Mater Dei and Bosco back-to-back weeks. That's going to be tough.
And remember, this was supposed to be a rebuilding year after losing Tanner McKee, the best quarterback in the nation. But anytime you talk about Matt Logan, the great Sith Lord, the evil empire, Centennial seems to reload and get better and better every year.
They sure do. And now they're going to open up the playoffs against Orange Lutheran, a team that they've already beaten this season. 45-28 was that final score the first time they met Olu. That was way back in week 1. Again, tough to beat the same team twice in one season, especially when it's a good team. And a lot can change over the course of one season. But I think Centennial would still have their number. That was the Norco game when they had out there.
That was crazy.
And it was 28-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
Barely started the second, and they called that one. All right, also in Division 1, we got to talk about Hank Bachmeyer and Murrieta Valley taking on San Clemente.
Hank Bach.
Which we got video. Let's play the Hank Bachmeyer video.
Oh, man alive. There's a couple guys. I mean, just think of the Inland Empire the last 2 years. You have Jaden Daniels, Tanner McKee, and now the all-time leading passer, Hank Bachmeyer. Those are 3 great quarterbacks nationwide, and they've all been in the Inland Empire.
Yeah, Hank Bachmeyer now the all-time leading touchdown passer in Southern Section history, passing JT Daniels, who's now a quarterback at USC, formerly of Mater Dei, and now Hank Bachmeyer, 154 touchdowns and counting. He's the all-time record holder. He's going to have at least one more game against San Clemente. Hopefully the Nighthawks can knock off San Clemente and continue to move on in Division 1. Vista Murrieta, meanwhile, they will take on Rancho Cucamonga in Division 1 play. All right, back here live in the studio. Let's jump to Division 8 now, Jeff. We're going to talk about the Kaiser Cats. Look at this picture.
Look at that.
Seriously, turn around.
That's my guy.
Look.
That's one of my best friends in the world, Billy Cardosi.
Baby Ailish.
Baby Ailish. He and his wife, Raina, had adopted a brand new, beautiful baby this week. And I'll tell you what, can you say you've had a better week than this? You win a championship, your first championship as a head coach. You have the leading rusher in the state of California.
Yep.
And the best thing is your wife, he and his wife had a brand new baby.
That's so awesome.
Best story there is. And I'll tell you, it took years for him. Couldn't be to a better person or couple.
I am sure Coach Cardosi is loving every minute of this, but he's probably getting no sleep.
No.
He's game planning not only for Sultana coming up in the first round, but he's not getting much sleep with a new baby in the house.
No.
But he's probably loving every minute of it. You know, I'd rather be playing for a CIF championship and going to the playoffs and having a new baby at home as opposed to, you know, going 0-10 and not getting to the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'll be getting phone calls for the next several years from Billy going, hey, what do I do this? What do I do that? Because remember, I got 3 little rugrats. You've got 3 rugrats. We've got kids all over the place. He's just starting out, but I couldn't be happier for my good friend Billy Cardosi.
Well, Kaiser won the Sunkist League champion.
We battled in the trenches. We battled all night long on defense against a great Grand Terrace team and a great quarterback with a great group of receivers, and we were able to come up on top, 28-21. Very excited. Just very lucky and very fortunate. You know, football is family, and Ailish is a part of our family now, and we love her to death. And this one's for her godparents. You know who you are, Jeff and Katie. We love you.
Inland Sports.
Cardosi, man, I don't know if there's a happier guy on the planet today.
No, I'm happy for him. I've known him for, you know, a better part of 25 years, and I've never seen him so happy.
All right, a Christian Hunter update. You mentioned him. We got to talk about him. We got video highlights of Christian Hunter as well. Let's see those because, Jeff, he is the leading rusher in the state of California right now. It's only by about 2 or 3 yards. Like, it's very close, but right now he is the leading rusher, just over 2,400 yards on the season. He also leads the state in total touchdowns, 39 touchdowns. Total. That's quite a few. And we're talking guys. What was the guy that played for him last? Tyler Algier. That is another guy. He's playing at BYU. That's right, yeah. BYU. And this young man, Christian Hunter, is going to do big things, and he'll be playing on Saturdays for years to come. Yeah, so we got some highlights of Christian Hunter. Here he comes, and the Cats. Big win against Grand Terrace this past Friday night. So now Christian Hunter, so he leads the state in rushing yards and total touchdowns. He's also about, my math is a little shaky, but he's about 150 yards away from the great Lanye Miller, who has the school record for rushing yards in a single season. So if I'm going to guess against this Sultana team come Friday in the first round of the playoffs, I think Christian Hunter is going to blow past that school record. And hopefully, I don't know about the guy who's in second place right now in the state, but I'm thinking Christian Hunter is going to have a big night, and he's going to extend that gap between him and the second place running back in the state of California. Oh, yeah, and you watch him. I mean, look at him there. He is a beast. He is a physical runner. He's quick. He's got breakaway speed. He's really fun to watch. And I'll tell you, a lot of coaches, a lot of college coaches are just now hearing about him, and they're going to save scholarship for a guy like that. All right, and one more game that we want to touch on as we come back live in the studio. It's Rubidoux taking on Hillcrest. That is Division 10. It's an all-local matchup. Jeff, you know, you feel like Hillcrest could put it all together and make a run all the way to the championship game. I'll tell you what, I saw them the first game of the year, and I saw them later on the second to the last game of the year, and they're healthy. They have 2 sophomores, super sophomores, Cameron Payne and Dominic Clay. Those guys are playmakers. They are electric. As we see them scoring right there, they are fun to watch, and they seem to waltz through the River Valley League. They gave Norte Vista a great game, and I'll tell you, they're going to go far in the playoffs. Yeah, Hillcrest certainly a team to watch. That's some Murrieta Valley highlights as the Nighthawks will be taking on against San Clemente in Division 1. So we got a bunch of teams in the Division 1 playoffs here, and in Division 10, whether it's Hillcrest or Murrieta Valley, there's a lot of good football in this area. We had a chance to catch up with Coach Brandom after their game, their big win that not only sealed the River Valley League title, but also 5-0 in the RVL. Yeah, I'll tell you, I always give him a hard time. I call him Gimli because he's got that crazy beard going on right now. But, you know, he's been everywhere. He was a great coach played at Riverside Poly, coached at Corona, got his teeth there, Santiago, and now at Hillcrest, doing a great job. All right, so here's Coach Brandon and also one of his star linebackers, Christian Murillo, who had a huge game against the Jaguars, Jurupa Valley, who they already had a piece of the league championship. Yes. When they beat Jurupa Valley, they got the outright title, which is a far cry from the 5-way tie that we saw a season ago. So here's Hillcrest head coach John Brandon and Christian Murillo.
Sports.
This senior class going down as one of my best senior classes and most memorable senior class I've ever had, based on their hard work, how far we've come. The road to get to where we're at right now was not a straight road. It was very curvy and uphill and downhill, and they stayed focused and they believed and they trusted, and this is their team.
We just came out and played for each other. So we're playing for a team. We're playing for each other. That's what we came here to do. That was our mentality coming into the game. We knew that we were it's just another team in the way, and we got to get ready for CIF.
Inland Sports.
So that's the Hillcrest Trojans moving on to the playoffs in Division 10, opening up against Robideau, the second place team out of the Mountain Valley League. When we come back, more high school football. This is our unofficial playoff preview on the Inland Sports TV show.
It's a good preview.
All right, we still got to get to Notre Dame versus Citrus Valley. We're also going to sneak in some UC Riverside basketball because we're almost there. It's almost time for Highlander basketball.
We are just days away from game 1 at Oregon State.
All right, we'll have much more high school football and UCR hoops when we come back on the Inland Sports TV show. Perfect.
How you guys doing?
Nice job, ladies.
Here we're back at the BPC. Wanted to share with you guys what we're doing today in the gym. Today is all about backward movement. So if you're a football player, lacrosse player, soccer, basketball, any sport that requires backward movement, this drill's for you. Come check it out. So what the athletes are doing here, they're doing a back lateral run. So what I'm looking for here is I want their head back, all right? They're gonna hit a lateral run, they're gonna hit a quick transition. So this is a 90-degree cut, so on all of our 90-degree cuts, it's a single foot cut. And what I'm looking for is just a nice and fluid lateral run with their head looking back. They're gonna dip that inside shoulder, make a nice, crisp and clean cut. They wanna stay on a tight rope, and they wanna accelerate out of it. So this drill here, it's very similar to the last drill that we just watched. Now we're hitting our lateral run and we're going at a 135-degree angle. So we're taking it up a notch, we're increasing that angle. So now we're still getting that single foot cut off the inside edge of our foot, and then we want to decelerate at the cone. So again, we want to make a nice and sharp transition. We want to dip that inside shoulder, we want to decelerate. So that's our boost training tip of the day. Thanks for checking us out again. And make sure you stay up to date with everything that's Boost. Check our schedules, check our videos at our website at www.boosttrainingsystems.com. Check out our Twitter at boost_training and our Instagram at boosttraining. Grind hard, stay solid.
We're small, family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cahelco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using, we do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car, whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
Inland Sports.
Let's go Inland Sports!
Yeah! Yeah.
It gets me all fired up, you know what I mean?
I'm ready to go out and dunk right now. I could dunk right now.
Welcome back to the Inland Sports TV show. If you're watching us live right now on the YouTube channel, or maybe you're watching us live streaming on Twitter as well, we're all over the place. So make sure you follow us on social media as well at Inland_Sports on Twitter. We still even do Facebook. I know a lot of people don't. We still do Facebook, so you can find us there too.
What do you mean? You don't do Facebook?
You do Facebook.
Hey,
Jeff does Facebook.
I have a lot of friends.
Most of the world does not do Facebook.
Well, you know, I'm going to run for office someday. You got to build up all those friends. I'm right around 2,000. Does that make me cool?
You could run for political office.
Yeah, but who's going to vote for me in Menifee? I'm a Riverside guy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
If
you're in a brave new world down there.
My wife and I were talking about moving back to Riverside because I need to run against Rusty Bailey, my friend. I saw he was hanging out with Dan Rather or whatever yesterday.
Dan Rather?
Yeah, he was hanging out with news. Yeah, he was hanging out with him yesterday.
What are you doing with him?
I should be hanging out with Dan Rather as the mayor of Riverside.
You can hang out with me.
Yeah, okay.
With me.
Okay.
All right. We've got a lot more high school football to get to. Also, UC Riverside basketball in this segment. We want to spend a lot of time on this Notre Dame versus Citrus Valley matchup. Jeff, there were two games that when the brackets came out on Sunday, the playoff brackets, there were two games that jumped out at me, and I'm like, man, those are tough draws. Like, I can't believe that happened. One was Heritage versus Upland. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, that if you would have told me, take us back to like August 1st, the season's about to start. If you would have told me, hey Pep, let's fast forward about 12 weeks, 13 weeks, Heritage versus Upland would be your Division II CIF title game. I'd have been like, yeah, okay, I'm on board. I could see that totally happening. This is a first-round game.
Oof.
Upland against Heritage. The other game that jumped out at me was Notre Dame versus Citrus Valley.
Yeah, that's a good one. And we're going to have it on Riverside TV?
That's the Riverside TV game of the week. You and Ghazal Hassan will have the call. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. It's just tough. You go out, if you're Notre Dame, you go out and you win the Sun Belt League, and you get rewarded with Citrus Valley, who's not an easy draw in the first round. It's tough.
It's not. But I'll tell you what, they've got a couple dudes. They've got Ashton Othama, who's been an all-league performer for 3 years, four-time player, played 4 years on varsity, and Tyler Mosley, the transfer from Carnegie.
All right, standing by. Cullen Holt has more on this huge matchup with Notre Dame versus Citrus Valley, first round of the Division VII playoffs. Cullen?
Out of the Sun Belt League, Notre Dame goes 8-2, 3-0 in league, and then first round they get a home game as league champs, but they got to face Kurt Bruick's Citrus Valley Blackhawks, who went 7-3 on the season, and the only two teams they finished behind in league, guys, would be Rev and Cajon, two very good teams. So this is anything but a gimme for Aaron Huerta as we caught up with him to talk to him about this matchup against the Blackhawks. We take a look at some highlights. Notre Dame, of course, 8-2, 3-0 in league, and that's that new league as part of the Rain Cross Conference, guys. That major conference with 3 different levels. They're in the Sun Belt League. They take the win in that league and only had to play 3 league games, so they go 3-0, 8-2 overall on the season once again. And Citrus Valley new head coach Kurt Bruick doing a great job over there, 7-3 as we said on the season. So once again, a great first round matchup. Got all kinds of those, all inland area first round matchup between Notre Dame and Citrus Valley. Once again, we caught up with Aaron Huerta earlier to talk to him about this playoff matchup against Citrus Valley with the former Rev head coach Kurt Bruick at the helm of the Blackhawks. And that'll be the Riverside TV game of the week. So Jeff Gorham and Ghazal Hassan on the call in that one as we take a look at some more Notre Dame highlights. That'll be out at RCC, 7 o'clock start on a Friday night for you. So Aaron Huerta talking about that first round matchup against Citrus Valley.
Inland Sports. Yeah, I mean, we're playing good football. We're playing together is what I'm most proud of. Yeah, it's a tough game, but I'm excited. This is like I told the boys. It's you gotta play the best to be the best. So we're excited to play Citrus Valley this week.
Sun Belt League champions. I mean, you got a league title under your belt. You get a playoff spot. So things are going pretty well for the Titans as you get ready for your playoff
Can't
opener.
complain at all. Can't complain. We're playing in November, so you know every high school team, that's one of their goals when they ride them up in May. So
I think it's the line of scrimmage, both sides. Can we hold the line of scrimmage, and can they create a line of scrimmage offensively, defensively, and can our O-line create a line of scrimmage? When you can get those 1 or 2 yard gains, sometimes you don't think it's a big deal, but it creates some nice second and third down plays that you can create and take chances on. So it's going to be the line of scrimmage.
Playing in November is what it's all about. Riverside TV Game of the Week. It's playoff time on Riverside TV. Ghazal Hassan, Jeff Gorham, 7 o'clock p.m. on RCC. Back to you guys.
All right, we're going to UCR basketball. I just saw it.
I did too.
Jeff, you went to the scrimmage for UCR hoops this past Saturday.
Hey, I went to the blue-gold scrimmage at UCR, and guess who won?
Blue or gold?
Both.
Everybody
won. I'll tell you, they start the season next week versus Oregon State. You and I are going to be up doing the show from Oregon State up in Corvallis.
The Inland Sports Show next week will be live from Corvallis. So we won't be here in the fine Teen Vision TV 16 studios. We'll be on the road in Corvallis, Oregon, which your good friend's going to get us into like the best spot, right?
My friend, Coach Greg Gottlieb, the associate head coach at Oregon State, is going to let us in. We're going to pull back the curtain. We're going to do the show from the lovely greenery of Corvallis, Oregon.
So next week, the Inland Sports TV show live from Corvallis. That's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, we'll be in the second round of the high school football playoffs. We'll be previewing the UCR game against Oregon State, the Beavers. And then also Cal Baptist will be having their season opener for men's hoops next week as well.
That's right. And I'll tell you what, watching UC Riverside this past week, it's a lot different than we've seen in the past. Coach David Patrick, who came over from TCU, has got himself a very different looking ball club. They're going to play a lot of up-tempo style. They can shoot the basketball. That's where their Achilles heel has been the last few years. We're going to see some players, new players. Dragon Elkaz from Australia, he put up 27 in a national game playing for Australia. He's one of the best shooters I have seen in the area for many years. They also have a big man. I'm going to say this. He's 7'1", 285 pounds. His name is Callum McRae. You're going to remember that guy's name. He's only 18 years old, but like I said, 7'1", 285 pounds. Got a smooth touch around the basket, and they're going to have a 6'7" point guard. Jordan Gilliam out of Salt Lake City, Utah. He's a phenomenal player. The Highlanders are going to be much, much better with these added additions. You also have Menno Dykstra, Dikembe Martin, Johnny Kennedy, and DJ Sylvester coming back at that core group.
And I was just checking my phone because the Big West Conference released their preseason poll, where they do the preseason poll. Yeah. And they've got UCR as number 7 in the Big West in the preseason poll. So I don't know what's going on with UCR, why they put them so low, because I felt like by the end of the year they were competitive with everybody. You know what I mean? I feel like 7's a little low for them.
I thought it was low just because we had seen them. I mean, they played the conference champion, Cal State Fullerton. They nearly had them twice. I'll tell you what, this Highlander team is going to be a different look, and coaches and teams aren't going to be able to scout because it's a completely new system.
All right, one final note here. We wrap things up. We want to let everyone know about the Austin Gurrell Classic. The baseball tournament is coming up. We got a fancy graphic for that. Jeff, we're going to have the championship game live on the Inland Sports Channel. That's a Tuesday night. It's the Tuesday right before Thanksgiving, 6 o'clock at California Baptist. I hope you'll join us. We're going to have the game live. They pass out a lot of scholarship money. It's a very cool event. A lot of cool things happen prior to first pitch. So we're honored and privileged to be out there with all of them for the Austin Gurrell Memorial Classic. And it's the 4th annual. So it's going to be, and there's a lot of good baseball teams.
32 teams to be exact. Most from the area, but some outside the area come out. This is one of the best causes. Like you said, gives out scholarship money, and then a great honor of the great Austin Gurrell, who lost his life a few years ago.
All right, yeah, so we're honored to have that on the channel. That is coming up in a couple of weeks. When we come back here on the Inland Sports TV show, we have a very special guest.
We do.
He's a very special guest. He has not been on our new show, the new TV show here.
I've heard of him.
So he's going to be next. So you might want to hang around as we talk more high school football with our mystery guest when we come back on the Inland Sports TV show. Great job, ladies.
Quick, quality oil change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. You're going to save thousands of dollars at Catalano Motors. And Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. Come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
We are back here on the Inland Sports Show. We are here every Tuesday from here on out for eternity. I'll tell you what, a big week here locally. Joe Kelly, the pride out of UC Riverside and Corona High School. Hey, he's a World Series champion. The relief pitcher had 3 stellar appearances in the playoffs, went on to win the World Series, and was a big, big part of this winning tradition. We are going to be joined in a few minutes by what I've heard is the sports anchorman. He hasn't been seen in several years. He was a big, big part of this inland sports beginning. Well, he's going to make an appearance here shortly. He's going to talk to us about the playoffs. He's going to talk about, oh, here he is right now, ladies and gentlemen.
How's my hair? I'm running a little bit late over here.
Hey, Inland Sports.
I just trimmed my mustache.
Anchor guy, how you doing?
I don't have my microphone on, Jeff. Have you ever done a broadcast before? I'm a seasoned pro around here.
I can tell. Man, you look like you've been through a little bit of...
Oh, I've been through some stuff.
Been through a lot.
You don't even know. Don't look at my mustache.
Now
hey, you know what I did, Jeff, for you? I wore my my famous kangaroo tie because I heard you're really into marsupials. You love the pouch.
I do like the pouch. I have a pouch.
Kangaroo.
I do.
The mama puts the baby in the pouch. I heard you love marsupials, so look, I wore my my kangaroo tie for you.
Well, where have you been all these years? We've
covering high school football, Jeff. Someone's got to do it.
But where have you haven't been covering it here locally?
Oh, I've been around. Oh, I've been a lot of games.
Were you hanging out on the sidelines?
Yeah, everywhere. No, usually I have the luxury VIP booth. You know, for me, the Inland Sports Anchorman. They roll out the red carpet. They give me my, they fix my hair and whatnot, and so.
You got fantastic hair.
I know. I wore this for you, by the way. I know you love marsupials.
Well, I do because I have a little pouch of my own. So thank you for thinking of me. But hey, I want to know a few things here, buddy. You cover high school sports from here in the Inland Empire?
I do. Nobody covers it like me.
What team do you think is going to be a CIF champion?
Well, here's what I love about high school football, because my favorite team also is my favorite type of food, Cajun.
Cajun?
The Cajun Cowboys. Up there in San Bernardino. You never heard of, Jeff, you cover high school football. Hey. You never heard of the Cajun Cowboys?
Not the
Ridiculous. Who signed you up for the show?
No.
I don't even know why I'm here right now.
You mean
amateur hour.
You mean Cajon Cowboys?
Who?
Cajon. Cajon, not Cajun.
Oh, the Cajun Cowboys. I love those guys. I love the food too. Oh man, a little spicy though. I have to eat some Tums.
Good Lord.
Spicy.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, what's your name?
I'm Jeff Gorham.
What'd you say?
Jeff Gorham. I'm part of the
Chef Borum. I mean,
come on.
You're cooking up a lot of boring on here, Chef.
No, I'm not.
Chef Borum.
Hey.
Chef Borum.
Hey. Jeff Gorham here. My partner would not appreciate you talking to me like that.
Wait, who's your co-host? Do you have a co-host for the silly show?
I do. His name
Does anybody even watch this show?
Everyone watches this.
Well, today they're watching because I'm on here. But besides that, does anybody even watch this show?
Everybody watches the show for one reason.
Me?
Pep Fernando's.
Oh, I just saw him. He was playing in a mariachi band outside my favorite Mexican restaurant. I saw that guy. He doesn't know anything about sports, but he loves chile rellenos.
As I like to say, never besmirch the name of my co-host. He's the best guy in the business, and he actually knows who Cajon is, not Cajun.
He is the best in the business at tickling the ivories on the accordion. Ever seen him in that mariachi band of his with the accordion?
Stop it.
Oh, he's wonderful.
He does wear tight black pants with the gold thing down the side.
He loves that.
Yeah,
that's where he hangs out.
He looks really good. Hey, who's your favorite player in the Inland Empire this year?
My favorite player, and he's not playing for the Cajun Cowboys. Sorry to say, it's my favorite team. But my favorite player this year is Ika Tuatala. If you translate Tuatala into English, it means HEFO. Remember all the HEFOs that went through Heritage High School?
There's a lot of HEFOs.
But you have to translate it into English, and it means HEFO. It's the same name. It's the same person.
You've got me thoroughly confused.
Yeah, so.
Is that your job, is to thoroughly confuse me?
No, it's to bring good sports coverage. Somebody's got to do it on this rinky-dink show. I mean, what is this?
Hey, once again, besmirching the name of the Inland Sports Show is not key. Hey, I have a question for you. We have the North Vista cheerleaders here.
Oh, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
Between me and the cheerleaders, this show's watchable.
No.
You should sit down and really watch this show today.
I just want to know one thing. What do you think of the longest tenured coach in the area, Ken Batdorf?
Ken Batdorf?
Yeah.
Batdorf?
Yes.
Isn't that Pokemon character you could get outside the studio? Batdorf, the mythical Batdorf?
Yeah, he might like to play a little Pokemon. I've known him for his entire 25 years. But what do you think of him? Do you think he's going to be a good coach? Do you think he's going to win a championship this year?
If he can put down the burger, he's going to do just fine.
Whoa, that's a low blow.
He enjoys a good double-double animal style, if you know what I mean.
Oh, come on. They're lettuce wrapped. They're lettuce wrapped. That's the old Ken Batdorf.
That's all hubbubaloo. That's nothing.
You haven't been around long enough. It's been
I've been
years.
Everywhere. I've been at all the games.
No, because have you seen? He's a shadow of his former self. He's eating nothing but greens. He's thin now. Coach Batdorf is thin.
But he's not a Pokemon?
No,
he's not a Pokemon character. He's like a real live, like if I went to his, I get on my little app and I see the Pokemon characters. If I went there, like he's a real live man eating a burger.
He's a real live man eating a burger.
I thought it was a Batdorf. Say it out. Say it a couple times. Say it, Jeff. Chef Borum. Say Batdorf.
Batdorf.
It's a Pokemon character, Chef. What do you cook, Chef? Why do they call you Chef?
I'm not Chef. I'm Jeff.
So why do they call you Chef Borum? You cook a boring on this show. Let's go.
No, I'm not. Hey. Stop it. Just stop right now, Anchorman. What do you think of the Ivy League this year?
I'm on my best behavior.
What do you think of the Ivy League?
Not too bad for a bunch of bookworms.
What?
They play pretty good football.
What do you mean bookworms?
Rancho Verde. The Ivy League. Yeah, I mean, you got to have good grades to get into the Ivy League.
No, not Cornell,
Harvard, Brown,
not Harvard, not those guys.
Football.
No.
We're talking level of football.
No. Rancho Verde. Heritage, those guys, that's not the Ivy League.
High level of football. Bunch of nerds, but they know how to play the pigskin, if you know what I mean.
Okay, now Norco. You've heard of Norco, right?
Yes.
You know, the Cowtown or Horsetown, USA?
Yeah, I've got a little corral over there. We have little rodeos, and we do the mutton busting where you hop on the sheep.
What do you mean mutton busting? Mutton busting?
Chef?
I have 3 kids.
You're not in the kitchen cooking.
Are you impressed with their reign of 32 consecutive playoff appearances?
See, because I know high school football more than anybody.
Apparently.
And here's the thing. Here's what everyone is missing out there. So 32 straight years in the playoffs.
Hey, your mustache is losing it a little
32 straight years in the playoffs for Norco.
32?
But nobody, listen, Chef. Nobody wants to talk about all of the years before those 32 years. Those were the dark ages of Norco football.
So what were the dark ages like?
I hadn't even built a corral out there yet. I mean, this was the dark ages. They hadn't made the playoffs. Everyone talks about, they made it 32 years in a row. Yeah, what about all that time before those 32 years? The dark ages. But the period of struggle for Norco.
The period of struggle?
Yes.
I mean, they haven't been around that long. I mean, I'm going to say, I'm going to say maybe 42, maybe 50 years tops.
It seems like a long time. I started growing out my hair when they started playing football at Norco.
How old are you?
I don't know. It's a good question. Are you into Drake? Drake. Are you into Drake?
Yeah, he's cool. He's a good singer, I guess.
Singer?
Yeah, is he a singer?
No.
What is he?
Are you talking about Drake Jackson at Centennial?
No, I'm not talking about You're confusing me. Drake, the rapper guy.
I'm talking about Drake Jackson. He's a star defensive end for Centennial High School. I love the Huskies. Best football team. They're going to win Division I. I don't care about Modern Day or Bosque or any of those other teams. Yeah, I don't care about Bosque. I only care about Centennial. I'm into Drake. I like Drake all the time.
What about Matt Logan?
Who's that?
The coach of Centennial.
Oh, yeah, that's of course. The Sith Lord, as you like to call him on your little show here.
Hey, whoa, besmirching. You're about ready to get hit there, Mr. Anchorman.
I'm about done. Can we invite the ladies over here?
Come on.
We got to pick this show up. This show, Chef, again, you're cooking up a lot of boring on this show. Good thing I came on here with the ladies today because, man.
Well,
do you have a restaurant?
No.
Why do they call you Chef
No, it's Jeff, not Chef. It's Jeff. Ladies, come on over here.
I'm serious. I got to run this show. Someone's got to do it.
Oh, gosh. Okay, Anchorman, just close out the show. But I'm telling you right now, it's been 4 years since we've seen you. 4. I'll see you again in another 4 years. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Big deal. People know me.
Hey, we'll see you next week,
ladies,
on the Inland Sports Show from Corvallis, Oregon State UCR.
Goodbye, Chef.
North of us to cheer. Good job, ladies.
What are you cooking tonight, Chef?
Chef Boyardee. Chef Boyardee. SpaghettiOs. Thanks, there, Anchorman. Chef Gore.
They already rolled the clothes.
All right, we're looking at everybody's camera.
Missing the co-host.
Missing my co-host. All right, and one more. Let's get one with Pep's camera here.
That was awesome.
Thank you so much.